Okay, our family, we are here with another legend himself, Mr. Denver JAMUSA Silvera. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Who's there, a legend?
We had a couple of them. We had Derek Harriet.
Okay.
We have Freddie McGregor.
I don't miss you. How you doing, Dreamy?
I am fantastic. And you, sir?
Good,
Good, good, good.
good.
A lot of people know of JAMUSA. A lot of people know you as Denver. And you,
And someone I know me with some of that name that we don't want to talk about.
yeah, we don't want to go there.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Now, you have been in the music industry for how long?
Well, this year 60 years.
60 years. Just as old as
60.
Jamaica's independence.
What?
Just as old as Jamaica's independence.
Yeah, actually, it was ironic that, we actually started around the same time because a lot of people don't know. My dad had a shop. And in the back of that shop, they used to have dances. It's a color shop, top shop.
Okay.
And I get some whipping, because a lot of people don't like dance used to keep on Sundays, early,
Oh,
when you're supposed to be in
in church.
Sunday school.
Oh, Sunday school. Okay. Yes, yes, we used to go to Sunday school.
But I had this thing that I guess it was born inside of me. Wherever the drum lick, I had to jump. And I used to go and dance. When dance set up, sound play with, I'm string up and test the sound. So we used to go in and dance with the pole. Couldn't dance with no girls, so we used to dance with the pole. And those music was just a thing that it was, I should say, it came to me through my mother. So my mother was a lady that loved music to the bone. The Ella Fitzgerald, the Nat King Cole, the Frank Sinatra, the Dean Martin. On a Sunday when you're having Sunday dinner,
Definitely.
you can't say nothing, because that have to play. So it was in the bone, I think, because except for one brother, out of the 5 boys, only one actually, we call him the nerd. I was the bookworm. The rest of them, my big brother was a drummer. The one that we follow, he actually was the one who at first started actually playing music as a song. And my twin brother plays every instrument and he sings. So it's in the family. It has been in the family from birth. And I couldn't think of doing anything else. I used to get beaten for doing this, so I say. But growing up in a little remote village called Free Hill, where you don't see electricity until you were like 11 years old.
Where is Free Hill?
Free Hill is about 4 miles from Port Maria
Okay.
in St. Mary, up in the hill. And that is where we actually got started as far as getting musically inclined. Well, we left Free Hill and went to Aracabesa, which was the banana port in Jamaica. We used to have, I don't know if you know anything about that. They have these big boats that we used to have a launch that would pull them out with a banana to the ship.
Okay.
It was United Wharf, Standard, and Producer, 3 wharfs. And my dad had the gas station right around the corner. So he built a club in the back of the gas station called Golden Fork. Jack Ruby used to play at Standard Wharf like once a month. And we live on the hill where you could look down into Standard Wharf. So once again, I'm going to Sunday school. I will end up down there. And Jack was kind of some distance relative to us. And he noticed that I was always there. So I'm standing next to the amplifiers and stuff, and he said to me, the girl, I think you had too much, you know. And I said, yeah. He said, look like you want to play a song. I said, yeah, man. So he take me and put me in a beer box and give me first record to put on a turntable. And that is where I got the bug. And, you know, I get in trouble a lot, but one of the things about the music and the people that struck me from a young man is to watch these people dance, whether it's for 4, 5, 6 hours, and it's like there was no care. All the troubles that they have or the pressure that's went for that 6 hours, I say. And I think that's one of the reasons why I stayed with it. And we left, went to Kingston, and fortunately, we lived on Lincoln Road. You know what Lincoln Road is?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Lincoln Road, when you go Retirement Road, you make a left on Brentford Road, and you make a right on Lincoln Road. Down the road was Sir Cox's studio.
Right.
Howard Burroughs was a very good friend of mine. He lived like in front. I used to go have Avondale Prep on Retirement Road, so everything was right there.
Yeah.
And I started hearing about the Studio One. And once again, I was Sunday school.
The bug catch you.
Yeah, and I used to go on. I didn't know anybody. I just go on like a little watch. I didn't know who was Jackie Mitua, who was Leroy Sibbles. I just sit them under this tree and, you know, watch them. And then we started to get our little allowances. And I would save up and buy my first record.
Which was?
Woman Up Pay Me.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And the thing about those days, Dreamy, you know this, Carib Theatre was right there.
Yes.
I'm a little country boy. And I sat down on the movie.
Saturday matinee, yes.
What we had to do, in my homemade biscuit,
Oh, yes.
we had to save the label. Homemade biscuit was like 4 pence for the pack. You had to save 3 labels to get in your Carib. I couldn't save 3 labels because the money we get wasn't, you know,
Enough.
for lunch and stuff. But my dad started to come to Kingston because now we had built another club in Portmore, Golden Spoon. There was a guy down named Howell the Duke had one of the, I think one of the most humongous sound system. I think his sound system was probably the first country sound that played on RJR with, I think it was Duke Reed, you know. So my dad started to come to Kingston now and buying to KG and Randy's and buying records for the jukebox. I used to go with him. So I started picking up little tune them when we go country. What, you know, when they take out music out the jukebox, they would pack them up. I used to take them on. So my collection was building, you know.
Okay.
And my brother, Gary, had a Grundig radio. On my Grundig.
Yes.
And he had 2 little 12-inch speaker box that he connected to it. And a garage turntable. You remember garage? Okay. And I watched him. You know, I used to watch him, I watch him do everything. And when I got home from school before him, that was me. And he migrated to the States. So all this is mine.
Okay.
And the first party I played was at the house. It was, them days, day party was the thing. We started a sound called Detroit Sounds Incorporated. It was the first sound because I was, you know, crazy about Gladys Knight. And I bought my first Gladys Knight album at KG. And on the back of the album, it says Detroit Sounds Incorporated. No, Detroit Sounds. And that's where I got the name from, Detroit Sounds, and I put Incorporated. And we started playing a little party, house parties, you know. Then we moved from that to Soul Syndicate, James Salmon, and you know Joe Black, he's pilot Joe Black here in Jamaica.
No, I don't know.
He actually and James built the first little amplifier. That
Those true amplifiers.
yeah, it was your heat kit.
Yes. That was on the back of comic books.
Right.
And you sent for it from
You
America.
sent for it, and he built.
Exactly.
We had our first amplifier, Soul Syndicate. So we're playing everywhere. You know, every little thing we have to play. We were the guys, and I migrated from there. You know, get a little sound. Glenn Brownie from the Brownie Bunch, and myself actually got into the music thing. We had a sound system together. Most people don't know this.
Oh, nice.
But the thing that molded me into the music was you start going to a little concert, like, you know, Sam Cooke would come, because you're growing up now, and James Brown would come, and even you sneak out and go, you know, you enjoy these things. So I started to really get close to a lot of R&B music and, you know, starting to expand. I never forget the first night that I played at a big party, YMCA, Hope Road and Trafalgar Road, right there. Ironically, that's where I met my accident. It was a horrible accident, but I never forget, I was playing. My brother always remind me of this. There was a song by the Isley Brothers. This whole heart of mine, da 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 da. And let me tell you something. There was a big pool in front of YMCA. And Dreamy, as a little DJ, I used to see the guys, people running out of the party and jumping in the pool. It's like you go. And you realize the power of music, what it can do, you know. But I started really getting deep into the music. A guy named Barry from Doing the Park built our first amplifier for me and Glenn. And we used to play at a time Doing the Park is not built up. I'm fast forwarding to the, I don't want to talk about the other little things that I did. But El Susie Go had a club. Doing the Park. Doing the Park was the big thing. Because that, I think, was the first official housing scheme, apart from Avondale and stuff. And me and Glenn used to play there. That's where we used to play. So, you know, I started going out and play. So, you know, my dad brought the Scatterlights to Golden Fork in Arrogabessa, because we used to go on for holiday. And you hear about Jackie Mitou and you hear about Don Drummond growing up and not knowing who they were. And when they came, I went down to the country, and Jackie Mitou was playing and put his foot up on the piano and all of his antics, and I was just blown away. So when I got back to Kingston, I make it a point of duty to go down to Mr. Dodd's studio. I wanted to know everybody. And there I met him. I met Leroy Sibbles. Winston Francis was my idol at the time with the Sheridans. Never get to meet him. But, you know, they met a couple of people and blah, blah, blah. Then my dad would go down there and buy music from the record store, from Mr. Dodd. The record store was right in front of the studio. And then after we played at YMCA, I started going out. Peter Vassell was who took me to my first Meritone dance, Copacabana.
Okay.
And I met Trevor Blake. And Trevor Blake today is my mentor in a lot of ways. Trevor is who I call the tone in Mary. He was the one who actually set up the set, lay out the records, everything. So I watched him. I used to watch him, you know. But during that time, we was playing everywhere. We was playing everywhere, and then it came that my twin brother migrated. My bigger brother, everybody migrated. I was the only one left in Jamaica, and got in a lot of trouble because a lot of trouble, a lot of trouble. I got into I don't know if people they can judge. Some people know this. I got into a situation that was not my fault, but fingers were pointed on me, and they locked me up. Constant Spring, I went to court. P.J. Patterson was actually my lawyer, and case got thrown out because nobody actually knew or saw anything, knew what really happened. Which I won't go into that because it's kind of sad for me, because even though I was not at fault, you know, for the other person, I felt really, really bad. And I got out, I went to the country, stayed with my dad, and they shipped me off to New York City. And a lot of people don't understand. They feel that musically, I'm trying to find a right way to put this. Because I was so bad in my days in Jamaica, when I went to New York and I got that airport, nobody was there to meet me.
What year was that?
In the 60s, 68, 69, somewhere like that. Yeah, so I got there and nobody's at the airport to meet me. I have 5 shillings and 6 pounds in my pocket and a little dulcimina
Grip.
And luckily, they didn't think I was really coming. So luckily, after being here for about 2.5 hours, I saw this guy that looked like somebody I know. You know, so I said, Simon. He turned, I said, oh, was somebody I know. That was my lucky night because he was going to Brooklyn. So I gave him the address. We got there. Everybody was sitting in the living room playing dominoes. Nobody thought I was coming. And this was at night. Now I'm driving from the airport and the car is going. And I said, Simon, your car, you have a flat tire? He said, no. I said, yeah, why the car bouncing like that? He said, it's a road. I think it was Linden Boulevard. And I said, no, man, this is America. America don't have no.
Rough road.
All the movies you see are just smooth. Anyway, we got home, we got there, we got up, got into the house, got into the apartment. Got up the morning, and I got outside and looked at the building, Crown Street, 712 Crown Street. And right then and there, Dreamy almost died. When we living in this big, dirty, brown building, I just want to live. Man, I will tell you, for that 2 months, I just wanted to go home. I wanted to go home. My brother waked me up one Saturday morning and said, come with me. He has this basket full of clothes, laundromat. And I'm watching him this lady's taking her clothes out of this wash, and he's, he put your clothes in a room and take out that dirty clothes. And he explained, so, you know, I got used to that. And my brother take me to Manhattan now to get to an employment agency. You know, you to look at job. So we're coming home one afternoon, and we're coming up Fifth Avenue, and we went to, I think it was 45th Street. You went to this record store, downstairs record. And you go down and you go into the basement, go into the subway. Or Dreamy, that was it. I went into the record store and everything that I wanted was just in there. So every Friday my paycheck would go into downstairs record. Because no, I don't want to leave America.
So you got a job?
Huh?
You did get a job?
Yeah, I got a job, yeah.
Okay.
I got a job with Ken Cigarette Factory
Okay.
on 3rd Avenue and I think it's 5th Avenue, 5th Street.
Fifth
No, it is not. It is 42nd Street and 3rd Avenue.
Okay.
Right before you go over to the embassy over that library. And that's all I did. I just bought records. Because I lived with my mother. I wasn't paying no rent. And I got a job at Randy's Records. And that was another great thing for me. You know, so I was working there, doing some recording, doing some stuff there, you know, blah, 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 blah. As a matter of fact, you know Percy?
Who?
July, Percy.
Yeah, yes, of course.
I employed Percy.
Okay.
Yeah, to
Yeah,
deliver records for VP, for Chin Randy.
That's another great person, man.
Yeah,
Percy.
that's another one. So what happened when I was there, my brother knew this guy named Perry. We live in, this is Crown Street. You know Crown Street. This is Carroll Street.
Right.
So Perry opened a basement. But before I went to Perry basement, I went to Hoz's basement in, first basement party in Bedford-Stuyvesant. First time, and I was like, wow, this is, you know.
Nice.
So when he came home that night, he said, I have a place I want you're coming because I'm going to get you the job to play there. Man, I was the most excited person in the world. So we walked. Because I had, you know, those two little record cases.
Oh, yes.
So I had both of them. We walked. I thought, you know, it was just one block. So we went to Carroll Street and everything just blew up from there, you know. Everybody who came to Brooklyn or to New York had to come to Carroll Street.
Yeah, if you don't go to Carroll Street,
If you don't, right, you know, if you don't go to Carroll Street,
yeah.
you're not in New York.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you're not a Jamaican. And that just blew up, and it blew up, and it blew up, and it just got, I mean, like, I remember one winter, we started a Friday, we were in there until the Sunday, because you couldn't leave, you know. But everybody came that thing. And what gave me a bounce, you might say that, is I remember Marytone came up to play at Eastern Parkway. And I'm in Chin Randy, and they came in.
That's Empress Manor.
Huh?
That's Empress Manor he came to play at. Was it Empress Manor?
Empress is one that's right on the corner of Utica and Eastern Parkway upstairs.
Yes.
That was Empress Manor, right. And it was Cherokee, Monty, and Trevor came to Chin Randy. And I don't know if you know Cherokee. Cherokee was the, like how you have Mohammed Ali and you have the mouthpiece.
Mm-hmm.
That was Winston Mouthpiece, you know, he was a touter. So he came in and he said, why Denver? Well, you know, Winston up there. We said, trust me, I'll be there on my ears. Well, I am home, and Perry came to pick me up. So I said, we are going to Marytone? He said, no. I want the basement. I said, what? Marytone up there? He said, we are open the basement. Man, I was so upset. So I went into the basement. You know the basement, we have a little room that you play. I pulled the door. I mean, I was playing music. I just, you know, my mind is not even. And my brother opened the door and said, turn up the music. And Dreamy, this is probably one of the greatest feeling that I could ever have. When I looked outside, I couldn't see anything. The basement was jam-packed. And this was like 10:30.
That's
So
early.
I said to Cornell, what going on? Then my big brother came up and he said to me, there's a record called Sissy Strut. I'll never forget this. He said, play Sissy Strut. It was kind of like my little mentor, and I played that record, and Sissy Strut was a big tune them days. And when I looked, I saw Winston, he was leaning up on the wall, on the thing, and I think it was Monty, I think it was Trevor. And Ray came in and tell me what happened. Everybody's at Eastern Park up at Empress Manor. And some guys just get up and start leaving, and everybody walked out and came to Carroll Street. And, my head just started to go, but, that was that. And I am in Chindaran this one day, and Victor called me and said, come upstairs. And I went upstairs. It was like a 45 box.
Mm-hmm.
Him said, open that box. When I opened the box, I saw the Meritone label. And then I see Carroll Street. So he said, play it now. And I played. And, brethren, I just stand up dumbstruck because when Winston said, this is Carroll Street, where the brothers meet and greet. I mean, like, for Winston to go to Jamaica and make a song about Carroll Street was, to me,
A very good compliment, a great compliment to you.
Yeah. Everything started just going, and it's everything, And then an incident happened. They shot my brother at Carroll Street, and then they killed the guy, Perry. Brooklyn was really kind of getting weird. So that's when I went to El Tigre, which that is like the genesis. That was the first official Jamaican nightclub in New York City, where the Blues Busters performed. Bumps Jackson, people who remember Byron Lee. Bumps Jackson was one of the musicians. Then Carlos Malcolm played there, Toots performed there. So everybody, that was the place. And you remember LT?
You're thinking, but you gotta tell it.
At the train line.
The year. What year was that?
That was 1969, 70.
Okay, good.
But
good.
The thing is, El Tigre was right next to the train line.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So the speakers were on the wall. So when the train is passing, you feel the whole place vibrate. And then the guy that owned the store downstairs had to put reinforcement beams downstairs because when the place was so jammed, that when you're dancing, the dancer would move up and down. And they had to reinforce the place. And that just blew up. That I think was what actually gave me the confidence to do what I do even better than I was doing before, because the band would play, I would play after the band or in between the band, and then it ended up like I was the only person playing there. And El Tigre just took off, and I came to Jamaica. I went to Jamaica for 2 weeks, 1970. And me and a friend of mine, and I went to Turntable. I think it was 1970 that I went to Turntable. Yeah. And we had a party down at Queensboro, Easter weekend. And the first sound system I played on in Jamaica was the Ecology Force. Most people don't know that. But the thing is, I had taken down a mixer and I asked for 2 turntables. because people weren't using two turntables. So I was using two turntables, and I was mixing the alternatives. I'm just a guy with sugar mind, and it kind of marvels some people, you know, mixing back and forth, and people started talking, and the place was just jammed. The street was jammed. One era's place. So I went back to the States, and Glenn Levy and the guy, I can't remember the other guy, came to New York, and they begged me to come back to Jamaica to play a top hat. You know where top hat is?
Mm-hmm.
Top, yeah, turntable and top
Top
hat.
hat. Yeah.
And I started playing there, and it just keep growing and growing and growing. And we moved upstairs, complete upstairs. And first nightclub that Burning Spear ever performed in was Top Hat. And it was him, Burning Spear, and Toots and the Maytals and Boris Gardner. Because we had two dance floors. And after one New Year's Eve night, Glenn called me in the morning and said, I have to go down to the club. Somebody broke into the club and wrecked everything. Amplifiers, the DJ booth, because we had you know, it was risen, the DJ booth, and the speakers was ripped up, the bar, everything in the bar was totally destroyed. And that was that. But I used to play pinball. You go play pinball at Cracker's Bar right down the road on Reynolds Road. So I'm in there, and this guy was in there with a sound system playing this song there, and I'm standing at the pin, you know, my cousin, I'm watching this song, and I'm saying, that sound good, no, it really sound good. And the guy was playing there, and, you know, he was playing a thing. So I saw this Chinese guy come in, and the guy, Crackers, say, you love Sammy, blah, 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 blah. So I asked Crackers who him is. Him say, man, they have a big set. Man, he had full of equipment. So we wanted to buy back some equipment. So we went over to his house. Called him and went over to his house. And he showed us the equipment we want to buy. I mean, lots of stuff. So I say, would I like to buy him? Say, now sell him equipment. His wife came out, Miss Ermin, I never forget this, and she was listening, and said, oh, you play up a top hat? I said, yeah. And say, oh, you know, somebody will know you're good, you know. Say, yeah, we're talking, and then Ermin said to him, so Sammy, you look a good DJ to work with. We're gonna make him play the song. I say, I don't know, if you're willing. The first party we play at Tonbridge. First party, I never forget this. He had some speakers that was made out from, I don't know if you know those bass boxes that they use in bands. Right? And he converted two of them. Really, really pretty. And we're playing on Tonbridge. I never forget that. And the house party, Trevor Fuller, Wesley Salter, all of them was there, Billy. And I think that is when Circle actually formed. And let me tell you something, Dreamy. That is one of the things that made me say, I'm not going back to the States. And that party just took off. And the same girl, asked us to play again down at the house. This time we had to put speakers out on the lawn. These people, everybody from the neighborhood was there. And that was the birth of Disco Carnival. Sammy brought the record to me and say, he bought the record and he didn't give me. He would say, I'll bring it later. So he brought it, and when I played that record, it just took off. And that became our theme. And you know that song. So that was the start of the Mellow Canera thing. But I jumped fast forward because there was a couple of things that I totally forget about Brooklyn that we should have talked about, I should have talked about. During that old time, there was like a lot of different things going on. Two things that happened to me in that time was a place called Temple Soul City. You remember that place? And a friend of my brother's got me some gigs down there, and I was playing with people like Wilson Pickett, fantastic, Johnny C. These are people that would open stuff. And my biggest break in the business came at Manhattan Center. I hate to jump back and forth. So many things.
Don't worry about that.
This guy, he became a big rapper. Came to Carroll Street, and he said to me, a friend of mine was having a show in Manhattan. I want to have him bring you to play. So I went to Manhattan, and it was Manhattan Center. I'll never forget this. So they had this big screen, so I'm setting up. I set up, and I'm here waiting for them. Now I said, "Go on and play," because the crowd is coming in. So by the time 20 or 30 minutes, they said the show is about to start. So okay, the show started with some other artists and stuff. I actually never realized who the star of the show was. Now the curtain open, and they bring the thing out in front of the crowd, and I look out into the crowd. I couldn't move. I couldn't even play a record because there was it's the first that I'm looking at so many people. And I never forget the first song I played was just a James Brown song, Doing It to Death. And the people start going. So when I'm finished playing now, and I saw this guy walk past from the changing room. I said, what that look like? So, I called the guy. Isn't that? He said, yeah. I said, that's who it was going to be the star for the show. It was Eddie Kendricks.
What?
Yeah, so that was like, boom, And there's a lot of things to do with Brooklyn, and something that I'm about to say that a lot of people will probably watch this interview and probably say, not no Russell. And I think you probably know part of it. I met a gentleman at Sullivan Avenue by the name of Stagger. And when I met him, I didn't know his affiliation. But because he came to Carroll Street and, I just loved home I play, and it took to me and things. So I went to his house one day, and when I looked in his living room, was old-time tube amplifiers that he built, and all kind of records, tape on tape. So he started telling me who he is. And this was in 69, I think, or 69. He was brother to King Tubby's, right? A lot of people don't know this. But he built the first Dolby system, because I sat there and watched him in a TC60 Sony reel-to-reel tape. He did something that marveled me. He took a business card, because this machine that he used to cut dubs, what we call dubs. And he took the business card and he bent it and put it on the needle of the head that cut the dub. and that business card beat like a speaker. I never forget that day. And so I'm just there every day. Started to build dub plates. First mix he did Curtis Mayfield, Gypsy Woman. He took that and put that on a Jamaican rhythm. I mean, this is from in the 60s, you know. And people would not even believe that this guy's a genius. He built his dub machine, he built amplifiers, he built a sound called Imperial Fate for a guy in Jersey called Upton Frey. No, Upton lived in Brooklyn, but then he moved to Jersey. And there was a dance that he was playing at East 93rd and Rutland. Now, I am the DJ now going to play this sound system, the first official sound system with the House of Joy box ever built in New York was built by Stagger. And I was the first person to play that. And we are in the basement of this lady's house where they had the dance. And the song The Drifter, which became, I took as my reggae theme song. I put on that record, and there was 3 knobs. First time I'm seeing an EQ. So just the treble alone. And I'll tell you something, man. When I'm rolling the first bass, and when I'm drop the second, when it was when I roll the second bass, you know, the whole house, the basement shake. The whole of the woman, you know, the whatnot.
Yeah.
So, you know, and people just so mad. And that is probably a great experience for me. This guy built the first cutting machine. He built so many sounds, he cut so many dub plates, and people to this state will not believe this, that Tobias was not the one who invented that. Stagger is the one who invented the drum and bass, the drop out, until today, he have a system where he can cut out the voice out of the music, and I see that. He had some tracks that I used to do like a singing, and he wouldn't give it to me until today. And people don't know that this brother is who actually started that sound system movement in New York. In the 70s, he started sending circuits to Tubby because Tubby didn't even have a studio yet when Stagger was doing this in New York. And work with Bulwaukee, Munch, and all those people. You know them, yeah, man. You know those people. So the thing is that I can say to a lot of people that I was in the genesis of the sound system, and there was a station called WRL.
Oh, yes.
You remember? I worked with Carl Simmons, right, on Nostrand Avenue for Trojan Records. He was a distributor for Trojan Records. And they sent the record, "Hi, I'm the Magnificent." So we talked to Gary Bird at WRL to have them play the song. So they got the record, so we are listening to WRL the afternoon. No. What do you think they do? They use the song as a promo, say, "I am the Magnificent, WRL." so that's how that got started. And I went to Chin Randy and I said, "Look, I think we need to do a radio program on WRL." Carl Anthony, I just came up from Jamaica. I mean, Carl are good friends. So we checked Gary Bird, the time was there. We had wanted to call it El Tigre Hour, but Tony wouldn't put up the money, so they didn't have use Carl Anthony to host the show. So that was like the first official Jamaican program in New York.
Again, When exactly you remember?
Huh?
Do you remember exactly when that was?
That must have been 1969, 70.
69. Possibly,
70.
yeah, 69, 70.
70.
Yeah.
And then people don't know this either. Carl Simmons was the one who actually gave Gil Bailey his break.
On HBI.
Carl Simmons.
Right.
Meritone came up to play at Lloyd Price Turntable,
Mm-hmm.
which became Studio 54 on 54th Street.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where Meritone got the turntable name from, because Lloyd Price Turntable, the dance floor turn.
Okay.
In a little room was double HBI. So the guy, Carl knew one of the guy, and Carl went in, and Gil Bailey was there. And there was just one card machine, one turntable, and a microphone. That was WHBI. And Gil say, Carl, want upon radio, no? Want upon radio. And that's how that started. People don't understand. When Gil came from England,
Mm-hmm.
it was Gil and a guy called Fitzy. He's got himself killed. What? Gig Young. You remember Gig Young?
Of course, I remember Gig Young.
All
Of
right.
course.
You remember the Keg Lounge?
Yes. Yes.
All right. You have to have on a three-piece suit to go there on a Sunday.
Yes. Oh, yes.
You know, so, Keg Lounge, Gig Young started Keg Young, and that Keg Lounge and Fitzy used to run that. Then Duke, the Duke.
Mm-hmm.
These are guys these are the guys that probably mold me into a lot of the music.
They pioneered the music there.
The pioneers,
Yeah.
I mean, we were actually the pioneers that started almost everything in New York. Nightclub, the basement was Ozzy, we got own Keg Lounge. Everything else we actually started. Now there's a story that a lot of people don't know about a guy named Maboya.
Mm-hmm.
You remember a club called Albatross,
Yes.
Rutland Road?
Mm-hmm.
That's the first nightclub you, Roy, and Upton Lewis ever performed in, where I used to play. And White Castle is across the street. But Maboya had a locksmith shop on Utica Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
And he used to come to El Tigre. And he said to me one day, Denver boy, I sell him a shop, man. I said, why? He said, I went build a sound. And he sold the shop and purchased some Altec Lansing speaker, and he had a flatbed truck. He used to go to Reese Beach on a Sunday and play. Right? And that's how that happened. But what a lot of people don't know, how did Eastern Parkway started?
Okay, that's Labor Day, the Labor Day parade.
Who?
Eastern Parkway in what?
The parade on Eastern Parkway.
Yeah, the parade.
How did that get started? I bet if you ask 100 people right now, they don't know. My boy opened a club on Flatbush Avenue called Third World. That was the first nightclub that people used to carry tambourine, shaker, trumpet, everything. It was one of these New World Club. And he said to me one day that he was going to do a parade on Eastern Parkway with this flatbed truck. And he did. And that's how the Eastern Parkway parade got started.
I think that got started in around 70, 71.
Ken Williams was on
WLIB.
LIB at the time. So Ken Williams now started to come out and be a part of that. I had gone back to Jamaica in 70, and then I came back, and then I went back. So during that old time, Eastern Parkway just blew up. But
Yeah, I remember.
it was my boy who started that.
Yeah, I remember that.
You know, and those were the days that a lot of people couldn't even believe that something like that would blow up this big. But that's another thing that we were a part of. Bonnie Ruggs, who lived with me when he just came to America. Actually, people who don't know that Bonnie Ruggs actually gave me the name JAMUSA.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, because he used to come to Carroll Street and the thing is, say, why you play so much American music, you know? And we sat down and say, oh, I'm real Jamaican. So we're joking and right on JAM USA.
Okay.
That's how
Okay.
that came up. I remember when we recorded the Harry Hippie at Artcraft Studio. Yeah, that was what Bonnie's experience. And then he went with the Yo Hendrix and the Buccaneers.
Yes, you Hendrix.
Amber League started with that band.
Yeah, I remember that. I
You
remember
know,
when that band started.
Yeah. There's a lot of people we started with. Keith and Tex, when they came, that band, Carl Simmons was one of the guys who did that. We had a record store on Flatbush Avenue and Winthrop on Flatbush. That was Cass Records. And that's where I used to work after El Tigre. So there's a million stories about Manhattan, New York City, but Brooklyn was the genesis.
Brooklyn was the mecca of party,
Yeah,
of enjoyment, of coming together in New York and building
yes.
as a pioneer in,
Yes.
in the Jamaican Caribbean music industry.
Yeah.
Brooklyn.
It did launch a lot of people.
Oh, yes.
You know, a lot of guys came up after we left New York, you know, the different clubs. But, you know, so after all of that, there's so many stories, you know, when I went back to Jamaica, and with the Mellow Canary thing, that was something that until today, I can brag and boast that nobody have ever done what the Mellow Canary did. And people ask me, what happened to what happened? You know, you hear about all these other sounds. I said, because like it take one bad apple to spoil the bunch. And that's what I'm not gonna call any name, but what happened was that when we started out with Southdale Plaza to have the street jams and Spanish Court, Mellow Canary was playing in every nook and cranny in Jamaica. Some places that I don't even remember. We played in some places that we didn't see people until you think they live in the banana tree, so they must open the banana tree and come out that night. And the great thing about the Mellow Canary sound is that we had a team of guys. There was one sound system, and El Suzy Award gave us an award for that on RGR. We are the only sound system that played at 45 dance in 1 month. Not two versions of Mellow Canary, one. Not like you have a Stone Love playing here and Stone Love. No, one song. Tommy Cowan was doing that thing at Fort Clarence Beach. And we played at the first Reggae Sunsplash for the 7 nights, right? And Tommy came down and said, okay, we'll never reach Fort Clarence. So we left there and went to Fort Clarence. When we went to Fort Clarence and set up, we always use 2 songs. Drifter and a song called Who Is He and What Is He to You. That's how we used to test the set. Dreamy, after I put on Drifter, I didn't remember nothing else. I just passed out. And they took me home. They came back the night for me about 9 o'clock. We went to St. Thomas that very same night. and we play. We left St. Thomas, we went to Port Antonio and play up in a hill, the hotel up in the top. So the sound did what a lot of sound did not do in Jamaica. I remember we were playing at Southdale Plaza one day, one Independence, and we had like maybe 16 boxes, like 12 downstairs and 4 upstairs over here. And Michael Manley sent a message and asked us to please turn it down. Watch out the house. You can't sleep. You know, but the thing about Southdale Plaza, which that August, 2 things happened. One was I'm playing and the place is just jamming. And something hit me in the head and said, do something crazy. And people who remember always say this to me. And we had just gotten this record. And it was one of the biggest things. And I couldn't wait to play it. So what I did that evening, I just stopped. So I'm going to do something where I just want to just jump and go on like a Christmas. You know what I played?
What song was that?
Sal Soul Orchestra Christmas album. Let me tell you something. That thing went, I mean, what was his name again? From RJR, came from Washington. Was big DJ, was out down there. And him couldn't believe. Big mouth guy, man. Bouncing, what's his name? Jesus.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking.
Was came and he just came in and took over RGR like a storm. I don't remember his name. But the other thing that was kind of very sad was Disco Carnival.
Was it Don Toppin?
Don Toppin.
Don Toppin, yeah. Man.
Don Toppin.
I remember when he was coming, it was like 1 month. What was his name? It's coming, you know, the Don is coming or something like that for 1 month.
Yeah.
All you see was a silhouette of him.
Yeah.
And that was a big hype.
Oh, it was a big thing.
Big
It's like
hype.
when Frankie Crack was coming to BLS.
Yes. I remember that too. That's one of the big
It was
hype.
a big thing. Yeah, but one of the saddest thing is what happened with Disco Carnival. Because that song just took Jamaica by storm. And we were playing out there at Southdale and song is jamming. And everybody came out of Southdale Plaza, you know, Central by King's Plaza, and they went out to Constant Spring Road. Everybody's jamming. They went down Constant Spring Road and come back up the other street there and then come back into the plaza. But while everybody was jamming, this girl parked across the street and is running across the street now to catch the crowd. The car hit her and killed her.
Wow.
So that was kind of really sad, you know. Every time I play that song, I remember, you know. But I came back up to New York. I tried BLS for a while. I couldn't take New York no more. I went back to Jamaica. And this is how we got here.
Yeah, because I remember in New York, I used to go to all those parties. I never knew you then.
Yes.
But I heard you playing, but we weren't friends then.
No.
You know,
no.
but it's just amazing. It's
Yeah,
just
man, it was
truly
amazing.
Because the same people you know is the same people I know, the same people we hang out with. You know, but we just never clicked right there in New York. But then you came to South Florida.
Well, this is a story about South Florida.
Yeah, because Clint O'Neill was the first one I knew that came to South Florida. I knew.
I think we all came the same year.
In 1977.
No, I came before. I came a little before Clint. I'll tell you how I know. When we went back to Jamaica, Jay Byron called us and said they want Mellow Canary to come to South Florida. We came and we played New Year's Eve night. We weren't too happy with what happened, so we decided that, look, we're going to do our own thing. So there's a place named Roosters on Bird Road. And we decided we're going to build our own, build a Kenny. We built our own speakers, everything. We got a warehouse and we rebuilt the system, and we started playing at the Rooster on Bird Road. Right? And we're, started growing and growing and growing. And that's how Kenny came to South Florida. During which time, Marco Brown came down from New York. And there was a place in Fort Lauderdale called Players. And we kept a dance at Players. First dance in Fort Lauderdale. And that dance was so ram. We had 27 people. Because there weren't that much people here.
Yeah, especially up in Fort Lauderdale, because everything was down in the south.
Yeah, the brain drain from Jamaica was in the south.
Exactly.
And that was like, wow. But then I went back to New York, and Bull, Eliza called me and said, I need to come back down now. That's when I came back, is when Clint came. Right? But what happened is that coming down, driving from New York, I stopped up in West Palm Beach and I called Bull, because I'm up here and said, look, don't drive 95. Take the turnpike. So I had to stop, because them days you don't have GPS now. We had to stop and ask people.
Right.
Because the Miami riot was going on at the same time. So we drive turnpike. It was me alone out there. And we built Studio 44. And while building Studio 44, you had places like Secrets. Pluto was at the hotel on whatever that boulevard, Dayland Boulevard down there. Kendall Drive.
Kendall Drive, yes.
Right?
That's where
So Pluto is another one that is a pioneer.
Oh, yes.
I was here before many of us.
Yes.
Studio 44 and Pluto myself used to play at Secrets. A couple of places. Roosters is a place over by the Bird Road. And then it grew, and there was a station down. You have to go to Gould's to get out to that station in the bush. WRBD. Okay? And I think Ron was over there. I think it was Ron, somebody. And we all went over there, and that's where we started. Clinton Hill started at WLR at the same time. And that is, WRBD was the thing, And when you go out there at night and play, I used to do the nighttime, and these guys would come out with the Miller beer and beat down there. Peter Tosh. So that was fun. That's how that started in Southwest. When the club opened, Studio 44 was one of the most amazing nightclubs.
Beautiful.
Because
inside.
That was the first black-owned nightclub in the state of Florida. They owned the land and the building. And the thing about it is that that club was so beautiful. Everything in there, all the woodwork was pure mahogany. The bar was mahogany. And that club just took off. When Ron just came to South Florida, he worked there with me on a Sunday. And Chalice came up and they had some problems. They were here stranded. And Blair came to me and asked me if I could help them. So a couple of them stayed with me at the apartment, and we promoted the gig, and they made some money so they could go back to Jamaica. And Timmy Thomas used to play there on a Sunday. Roots Uprising,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and then you had the Village Hut.
A village art,
Yeah,
yes.
those are the things that
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people wouldn't even begin to understand that Roots Uprising was the band. Steve Wonder pulled some of them from out of the band and take them out to California, Teddy and them. And, you know, it was just Coconut Grove before Sundays on the Bay.
Oh, yes.
And we did a lot. Oh, man. We had some fun. Studio 44, Chalice, we brought them up for a whole week. You know, and they stayed here for a couple of, I think, 2 weeks. And that work up there. Maritone played here one time. It was just the club. And then club closed. And it was like, what's the name of that place up on off of 36th Street again? It's not Secret. Fifth Street.
Fifth
No,
Street.
no. Fifth Street was downtown. Easy Street.
Oh, okay.
Winston Chinqui.
Yeah.
And that all of those things came up. There's so many things came up, but during that time, after RBD, I went to WRL, which we did a Sunday program at WRL. And then some infiltration came and I left. And I was doing the fashion thing, modeling thing with Frost. So I spoke to her yesterday. During that time, we did the first Caribbean model competition, the first body beautiful competition. Noel Robinson and his magazine.
Anthony Baker.
You know, Noel was something else.
I'm telling you.
And you know,
Unsung himself.
Yeah, man, I was Sydney's buddy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah. And when we while at the station, I got a call from Winsome Charlton, who asked me if I could come to this station. I've never heard of the station, which was, I believe, yes, to sit in for Murray Garth. Murray had a program in the morning, I think for 2 days, 6 to 7, or 6 to 10 in the morning. So I went, and I didn't really want to get back into radio because I was kind of upset about WWR, about WEDR. And I was into the fashion thing too much. I was doing, you know, Veronica's, Lisa Lauren, Mayfair, was doing all the fashion shows. So that was kind of it. But music, I did it. Maria came back from Jamaica, and then her mother died. So she had to go back. So they asked me to come back and fill in for her. So while I'm there, Ray Hooper asked me if I would work with the station. I said, I don't want to get mixed up in no more there because, you know, there's too much backbiting going on. And they said, well, you'll be working for this station. So I said, okay. And I remember after I looked at that business card, I was a program director. It was a lot of Latin programs during the week. So I started working. I went from 6 to 10, 6 to 12. And Ray said, you know, we have to go from 6 to 2. And then we had to change the whole format to Caribbean format. So I worked from like 6 in the morning, then we went 6 to 4, 6 to 6. And I was living in Kendall at the time. But, you know, I remember Mary God said, Jesus, boy, you have a whole heap of record. You know? But that worked for a while, and it did very well. WRBD, I used to work there on a Sunday. James T. from W99 Jams. When James T. get up, I replace him. When I'm finished with WRBD, I used to drive to WRL. You know, Dickie Aisley. Remember Dickie?
Yeah.
I was the pioneer for reggae radio music on WEDR. And then WAVS now start growing. And one of the saddest thing that happened to WAVS radio, and people might be upset that I said, when WAVS died is when it went brokerage. Because before it went brokerage, everybody was one people because we were working for the station.
Mm-hmm.
Once it went brokerage, everybody now becomes everybody's enemy. Oh, I can't do better than Dreamy.
Mm-hmm.
I can give you commercials cheaper than Dreamy. So the old backbiting started to when it got sold, and Dr. Bresky say we'll never send it to a Jamaican because there's too much backbiting. But South Florida has grown to a lot of people. Me, yourself, people like L.J. Thompson, on and Henry, who came from New York,
Right.
Clint O'Neill.
Sidney Roberts.
Huh?
Sidney Roberts.
Sidney Roberts. I mean, you know, there are so many people, and one of my personal grievances in this town is that the people who actually laid the foundation for people to know that they can come to South Florida and come to a community.
Yeah, because when I came here in '86, I really didn't know anybody except Audley, which
Right,
is DJ
right.
Mac. And then his wife was tuning into this radio station. I was listening to Ron Burke and Eddie Edwards.
Mm.
You know, that's how I got to know of them here.
Yeah.
You know, so it's very interesting
Yeah,
to see.
because when we talk about South Florida and the Jamaican community, and I don't hear nobody mention Marie Ray.
I was just going to mention Marie Ray, because
That
Marie
was the
Ray,
first consul general we have,
she was.
and that came out of Studio 44.
Okay.
A lot of people don't know that.
Give us a story on that.
What happened is that we were at Studio 44 one evening, and Marie Ray's husband, Captain, was like bosom buddy with Al Isaacs. So we're just there talking, and I'll say, "But, Captain, at time Marie, there's something at the community. At time Patsy, you know, was doing the Miss Jamaica Miami. I mean, Marie, I served this community for so long. I said, boy, she should be representing Jamaica in this community." And some people that way I don't want to really call them did some talking and did some, you know, some people was in politics. And next thing I hear, Marie Ray's our consul general.
What a wonderful lady she was.
But she helped you too?
Oh man, she indeed put me on the map right here in South Florida in photography. She and Patsy Yun.
Yes.
Patsy celebrating her birthday this weekend, and I gotta go to her party.
Oh man.
You know, but I said those two ladies, they put me on the
And
map.
David
you know.
Alexander.
Exactly.
You know, I sit down sometime and I cringe because I'm not really putting down or knocking anybody. Not that they don't deserve some accolades, but the real people in this town who actually, before anybody came here as a promoter, Jay Byron was here doing so much work.
Of course. And don't forget Joan Alexander.
Oh,
Joan, David's wife.
oh, Jonah, and David they have done. I mean,
so much for this community.
so
man.
much work.
I've known her from she was 17 years old when she won the Miss.
When she won Miss,
Yep, in New York.
what was
It
that
was
again?
Miss Caribbean. It was during the Labor Day, the carnival.
Right.
You know, she won the Miss Caribbean thing. I mean,
And that's another set of
Yeah.
people who came from New York, and those people, to me, are the people who are more deserving than a lot of people who I see stepping up because of their affiliation with some people, like my father say, not because it's somebody doing a job, not that they're good, it's only because they know somebody,
exactly.
you know. And people ask me all the while, how come I don't get involved with this? And I say, why would I want to do that? You know, my music is what I do. I don't do anything. I don't know anything else about music. I don't want to be a politician, right? I don't want to be anything to do with that. I just want to do my music. And I give thanks. These 60 years that I've been doing this, people still don't believe. A lot of people don't believe that I'm doing this for this long. But it is my life. It is something that I was born to do because I cannot do anything else. South Florida is my home for the last, God, from so long. And there are so many things that we have not talked about, from Studio 44 to Sundays on the Bay to the village and the reefs and the people.
But Jamusa, you have done it all here in South Florida.
Huh?
You have done it all.
Well, and I think that's probably why, like a son, I was at a concert and was sitting there on the stage, and what he said to me, I work. I said, see me out of my work, because I think sometimes there are some potentially good people in this business that needs some help. There are some people who need to come out of the business, and they need some help to come out too. But there are some people who are genuinely good at what they do and are suppressed, because people don't step back and give them a break. I mean, Mike, his first radio program, and WAVS, his first concert that he ever did in his life, and until today he always talk about me. But I can't give you a chance for anything. So Sting came, and I said, work the first part. And I left him out there. So you have to recognize that there are people that, if you have done something over and over and over again, sometimes it's boring to do it again. But this is something that I will never, never, never give up. People say, when are you going to retire?
Retire? What's the matter?
I said, let me explain something to you. If music stops, the world stops. And as long as the Creator gives me the strength and guide me, and sometimes we hear people ask the Creator to do things. How the hell are you going to ask the Creator? I tell the Creator what to do.
Right?
Does it make you?
Exactly. He has his plans for you, not you have the plan for him.
Each of us is like the song say, a bag of tools. Each of us is given all the knowledge and wisdom we know from day birth until this day. And if you don't want to develop that, Dreamy, I didn't go to college. Yep. The only reason why I end up in radio school is because it affected my mother, because she said all I do is just buy music. So I did. I went to Career Academy. I got the license. I gave it to her. I've never seen it since. But that was just to please my mother. And I talk a lot about my father, and people say, why you always talk about your father? I say, I have learned so much from my father that, it's unbelievable when I tell the things I learn and what mold me. Some people have a problem with me. And the problem they have with me is because I don't hang out in bars. I don't drink, I don't smoke anymore. My home is this is me. This is it. I hate cigarette smokes. It affects me. I hate people. I don't like when people drink and they hop in your face. It annoys me. And instead of me being rude, I just say, let me stay here. Okay. I mean, like you rightly said, we have done it all. The Eclipse was a nightclub that I haven't even touched that yet. That is to me the club of all clubs.
That's Spooky.
Eh?
Was that Spooky?
No, man. Eclipse was in Deadland Towers.
Oh, down Deadland. Okay.
Right?
Oh,
I
yes.
mean,
I
that was a
remember.
club that
Yes,
people used to leave
remember.
West Palm Beach every week to drive to. That's where Patsy and all of them and Warwick,
Yeah.
that's where everybody hang out. And that club was the first nightclub. Let me just get this clear. A lot of people don't know this. That was the first nightclub at Half Pint, Sly and Robbie, Heineken Mouse performed in. The first nightclub. Right? One of the things that I am very proud of, extremely proud of, when I did my first fashion competition, Slade walked up to me, 36th Street, remember that hotel?
Yeah, yeah. Yes.
And she's up talking to me, and she's speaking to me in Hamrick. And I'm looking at her face, and I said, I don't understand you. And she said, you're not Ethiopian? I said, no, I'm not. She said, oh my God. And she introduced herself, Frasso. And we started Fashion for Life. And a lot of people, when I try to tell them about certain things to do with Ethiopia, they think I don't know. Her husband, right, was a guy who wrote History on Ethiopia. He was a lawyer. They were the ones who introduced me to the Ethiopian Archbishop. I have a book somewhere downstairs. I have to go find that book. When we did the Ethiopian family, Fashion for Life, which I tell people that was like, El Gita was probably one of the only Jamaicans I've seen there. We had something like maybe 700 pieces of garment, and 80 or 82 models. It was, where they have Bayside now, that big hotel, when they just built up that so-called jug money hotel. And that's where we did that. And Channel 4 did it, carried it, and Channel 10, Peggy Lewis, who was at Channel 10, was a very good friend of mine. She came and she is in Washington, not the university. She's a professor, and she emceed part of it, and that was unbelievable. And after that, they the Ethiopian people, they dubbed me. He used to call me Selassie. They say he looked like Selassie back in the days, Up until today, when Faso, she's in Delaware, comes on my program, she said, they still ask me, oh, they have a name for Selassie in Ethiopia, they call him, and they gave me that nickname. We did a fashion show with in Mayfair for Ethiopian people, and they dressed me up in this Ethiopian outfit, and they keep saying, yeah, it's Selassie. That was fun though, but Veronica's Lisa Lauren, and we did, Salim Mustaki was a designer that made some of the most outrageous outfits. And he worked with Donatella, who was Vashasi's sister. And she worked with us. We did a lot of things in there, in Miami, at the James Hill Night Center. The Sense of Purpose concert with Third World, first reggae concert in James Hill Night Center. Now we did that. Murray got MC part of that, So we did that, Miami Marine Stadium.
Oh, yes.
We did that big concert over there. There's a lot of things that we could go through for hours and hours and talk about South Florida. The people, and I'm going to try my best to make sure a lot of those people get recognized somewhere or the other, because it's sad that you come into a place where these people open the door so you can come in because, Jamaicans live here now, we have a community. how long you here before? You didn't know anybody.
I didn't know a soul when I came here, man. It was just
And there's some people I'm forgetting. The first, like I was telling people, Arnold Henry was the first radio man down here on the radio. From, that's on a big.
'Cause Arnold came from New York.
Yeah, he came from
Yeah,
New York.
I used to listen
from
to
a
him.
major on a major radio station
Yeah,
in South Florida.
it was on LIB, and then he
Yes.
came down to New York.
Magic Fingers,
Okay, yeah.
first disco, a Trinidadian guy.
And I said,
The
Marie.
first grocery store was a Trinidadian guy. Esley Carberry.
Oh gosh, people don't even remember, don't know who Elsa Carberry
Who is that?
You know,
You
that's
know?
the man who started that newspaper right here.
Right. Albert
Right here,
Lee.
so Albert Lee. You know,
The things, a lot of people don't even talk about Brian Otto
oh, Brian's Auto. Yeah, man, of
on
course.
27th Avenue.
Yep, and it's still there.
It's still there.
Still there.
These are the stalwarts that needs the recognition, that people have to understand. They have to understand, Lady C had our program first on Saturdays on WAVS, with John T. and
Saturdays was the time to listen
yeah,
to
and I cannot
WAVS.
remember the name of this guy that was with them tall. Because from Montego Bay, reminds me of oh God, what's his name, man? He was here with Winsome them too. As a matter of fact, they were scared of him because he would take down the monitors and put them on the ground.
Was too tall.
But it's just so many stories. I mean, Willie K.
A lot of people don't know who Willie K
Miami
is.
Expo. I mean, Evan and all these guys, they came along after, When Ron came, like I said, Ron came from Washington. He worked with me at Studio 44. It is really, really good to talk about this. We mentioned David Alexander, God bless his soul.
Yeah, yes. That man.
I remember when Gilbert hit Jamaica, and people in South Florida don't even know these things. Me and David were working very closely. We wanted to do a fundraiser here in South Florida. Them guys, Ronnie Burke from
Sunsplash.
Sunsplash.
Yeah.
Said they would come here and do an event. And I remember when we went to the city, they would not give us Bicentennial Park for free. And David instrumentally argued to decide, so they have to go to City Hall. And David called me and said, yo, we need for you to do this. You have to tell people that they have to come to City Hall to represent the Jamaican community to have this fundraiser. And I went on the radio and I did that. And Dreamy, they had 80-something people from the city who objected. We had like 120, 30-some people. And out of the 130-some people, how many Jamaicans do you think were there?
How many?
Take a guess.
50?
12.
That's what I mean.
Majority of the people who came were other people from the islands, and majority of them were Haitians. And we got the date, and it worked. And those things remind me of what I see manifesting itself right now in Jamaica and here. And I stay away from certain public figures because to me, a lot of it is self. And I don't want to be around a lot of them because people don't know what I do. Apart from now, they know some of what I do or some of what I was affiliated with in South Florida. And I remember a good friend of yours saw me one day and said, I was driving a Suzuki Jeep. He said, that's your drive? So I said, man, like you should not drive a Benz. I said, until today I drive a Toyota.
Exactly. That's
right?
the best car.
I was never in this thing to get rich. If I was in this thing to get rich, I mean, we don't even talk about the promoters who have done so much. originally, who did the first South Florida reggae artist concert? At Snyder Park. And went to jail for it. And somebody said, who that? And I said, I'm me that. You know? So a lot of things people will come and say, they started. How many people know about Snyder Park?
Snyder Park, man. I remember Snyder Park.
How many people really know Snyder Park? The first Sanchez, people climbed tree just to watch him.
Mm-hmm.
I never forget that. That was the first place I correspond.
Yeah.
Stage. Because people would come out of the tree. But, you know,
I remember taking pictures of people in the tree.
You know, bless him soul, Junior gone, yep. I mean,
boy, Yap.
Another one of the
That's
brothers.
another one of the stalwarts.
Yes.
Yap.
There's so many people that have.
I remember he brought up Garnet Silk.
No, let me tell you something about that. And on to date,
Mm-hmm.
right? Every time I remember that, and he came, and he actually cried on my shoulder. He said to me, Musa, watch him. Ghana Silk had him like.
I know. I took a picture of that when he was crying. I mean, Yap was actually crying when Ghana was singing.
Oh man, people. The first time, Luciana.
Oh, by the way, I got an album cover out of that.
Huh?
I got an album cover from that show for Garnet Silk.
Oh, okay. I mean, when Luciana came here inside Pembroke Pines, what's that park again? The first Jerk Festival was kept there.
Oh, it was
C.B. Smith Park.
C.B. Smith Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Mm-hmm.
You know, and there's a lot of people who don't even know what that is.
Oh, yes.
You know,
Oh, yes.
and I always feel that these people have been dealt a bad hand because they have done so much. You know, I'm not going to take away Evan Never's accolades because he has done a lot in this region, in the Broward region. From 421 came after, Villager came after, and that was when the exodus from New York started.
Yes.
DJ Carlton, everybody came. You know, I remember Sequence Sound.
Sequence.
You know,
Yeah,
all of these guys
those
that
guys
were
are
there,
good,
that Lodi and them, they were there. I remember when we used to do the Dance Hall Award, Richie, great music, My High Temple. There's so many people who people don't talk about.
My High Temple used to be
Mana.
so full.
Fifth Street,
Mana.
you know. How did My High
Mana was Granny's kitchen.
Mom's
Granny's kitchen.
right, on 22nd.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How did My High Temple get started? That started on my birthday. Me and Richie decided to bring Addies, Ninja Man, and Singing Melody down there for my birthday. And that's how the whole thing started with Concord. That old dancehall thing started.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that is what kind of bounced Swaggy forward into the music fraternity at the dancehall arena.
Waggy T break on the scene from Hungry Whale.
Yeah.
Remember Hungry Whale in the South?
Hungry Whale.
Yeah.
You know, because like I tell people, I have picture of Waggy used to come to Eclipse and stand up at the booth.
Yeah.
You know?
I used to
But
watch him.
you didn't know Waggy was a dancer.
No.
Or you think he get the name Waggy T? There was a dancer called Waggy Tail.
Oh, okay.
But that is a story, and that is another story for another day, because people say, why are you so close to Waggy? I said, because since I've been here, like Trevor Blake and myself, I took on to Trevor and learned so much. Waggy took on to me, and for hours. Sometimes at 4 o'clock at night, we go to bed. Waggy would call and we'd talk about the music. And when we talk, he go research it. And that's why he has catapulted himself above everybody.
Oh, yes.
You know, and because he spent the time. And, you know, I remember when he started playing, I said, well, you need a theme song. And look what that one song I've done in the musical fraternity, the dancehall fraternity. And I gave him the song, Dennis Brown, the 12-inch Love and Hate. And everybody followed that pattern, you know. But, you know, it's just the amount of concert that we did.
Oh,
Dr. Paul, DP.
DP. Yeah.
First time I met DP, you know, was at Vantana's on Green over Key Biscayne. And I just start laughing because I see this little man with this big bass guitar. And I said, well, the guitar bigger than him.
You can't play a guitar.
And he was working with Gregory Isaacs.
Yeah.
You know, and he has been here for a while.
Yes.
You know, there's a lot of people that's been here, but I'm talking to people who really throw it out from back in the 70s. And when we came in the 70s, you know, when I opened my record store, right, on Miramar Parkway, you know how hard it was to fab up and to open my record store there? Okay. You know, Stinger Lounge. People talk about everything and they don't talk about Stinger Lounge. You know, HQ.
Yeah, headquarters,
So
man.
there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that need to be to look at, and like, you know, I have some pictures that I use. There's a picture on my website, and people say, "Who took them picture? Them is that Dreamy."
Well, I'm in the business, what,
You'd be surprised.
53 years now?
Yeah.
53 years now, man, and I'm telling you.
And people say, but now, my cousin, when she saw the thing, she said, "Cuz, how old are you?" So I tell her, she said, "Lord Jesus." But the thing is, I think a lot of things has to do with longevity, because I had some mishaps. I was pronounced dead a couple of times. But I remember, this is a story that some people are not going to like. When I met in the first accident, they pronounced me dead on arrival. It was a Monday. I came out the following Tuesday. Both jawbones were broken up, my ribs were broken up, and I spent about a week in the hospital, and I came out. While I came out, my mouth was wired up, so I couldn't talk. So I was writing, you know, and a lady next door came over to my house. I was sitting on my veranda. She came with a Bible. I just said, "It's time you walk with this." I said, "Why?" And she said, "Tell me now that it was he who saved my life." I said, "And I wasn't walking the Bible before. Because there must be something him saved without the Bible. If him saved my life." You understand? People can't tell me what to believe, who to believe, how to believe. I know that there is a creator. I know that the creator created me with all the wisdom and knowledge I need to do what I do and to know what is wrong and what is right. I know that we are put here to love each other, right? And to treat each other as how we want people to treat us. So if you treat people bad and they treat you bad, accept that. So I believe music is the movement of life. The reason why I mean this is from that day Jack Ruby put me on that box and to play, and I see all the people, when they're playing, all the people who dance to music and enjoy themselves and forget, that is what I want to do for people. Music heals the soul. There's some music now that is not healing the soul.
Oh, logs, yes.
It is causing people to kill people and to destroy each other. That is the infiltration of the evil people. So, it is my life, Dreamy. You know me from from you came here. It is my life. It is something that if I had to do over again, I would do it double.
Yes.
You know?
And
people say, if I know what I know back then, I know what I know now, and I wouldn't change back then. Because back then is what carried me here, you know? And I give thanks every day. People don't know what my meditation is. You know, they don't know how I sit down, what I do when I meditate, what I think about. And this is one of the things this is the only thing that carries me.
And Nikki.
And what?
Nikki.
Oh,
Nikki. Nikki, I forget my girl. You can't forget my girl.
Well, the thing, there's a story behind with her that is unbelievable. And she told me at 9 years old, Dad, you know, sometimes parents should listen to children. And ever since that, I have listened to her.
Of course.
And unbelievable. She is now mother to 834 children. Because she counsels as a child psychiatrist. And I couldn't do what she do.
I watched her, well, from she was in her mother's womb. I watched her grow up to be a wonderful,
and, you know, I wonder sometimes if some people who have children, I don't know if I can use a word that I am so proud of her. That is...
You're glad bag boss with her.
I want to say something to you. She is like the unexpected in your life, because sometimes you know what you did in life. I'm sorry, drop off a drop on shoulder.
Yeah.
Some of it did drop on our shoulder.
Yes.
And but she is her own person.
Oh yes.
You know, she puts me in my place.
But you have to do that.
And I quietly go.
Of course, you have to do it.
I quietly go. You know, because one of the things that I can tell you that I am so proud of her is that if I call her and she say hello, and I say, what I go on? Nothing. And I say, so, what? Say, Dad, you have anything to talk about? If not, so all the time, you know, if you don't have some constructive to talk, don't call. And I am proud. I'm proud of the fact that she went through some hard times in her early college days, and she just got up one morning and came downstairs and said that this is what I'm going to do.
I remember you told me that. Yeah. I remember you told me that.
Yeah,
and she never looked back.
And I said to her, you told your mother? She said, oh, she's going to have to live with it. Because her mother wanted her to be something else. I never told her, and she always said, Dad, you have never told me what to do. I said, yes. No, you have never told me what to do. I said, yes, but I've told you what not to do. Haven't I? She said, yes, but you have never told me what to do. If I am going to say, don't do it, I just tell her, exactly whatever you do in life, you make that choice. You are responsible. Mm-hmm. If you do what I tell you not to do, call your mother. But Dreamy, it's a satisfied feeling. That's why I say that sometimes people use the word, I am blessed. I don't know if I can say I am blessed. I probably can say I'm very lucky. A lot of parents are not that lucky. Mm-hmm. You know, they go through some turmoil with their kids, and their kids are putting them through hell. Mm-hmm. I have never, ever, knock on wood, one day, had to go to her school or had to call her mother to chastise her, anything. And that is probably the thing that I'm proud of the most. But, you know, you're a good friend, so you know how she is. That's you know how she is. Yeah, but this is part of my life. There there are some things that I dare not wish to disclose, because not everything you tell everybody, you know. Some things I keep to myself to let them become a surprise to people that think that you have never done this, or how come you don't do this, or some of those things. I am not going to say I am happy with my people. I am not happy with my people. Because my people ain't right. They're not right. I see some things where, you know, a country that we come from, when the leader of, the so-called leader of that country can make peace, want to make peace with murderers.
And scammers.
And explain to tell people who are scammers that their money is needed in their economy. To me, you're doing two things. One, you're making those people laugh at you. Because there ain't no way they're going to do that. Because the first thing I'll say, you're trying to trap me. You know? What they need to do is to look at the people who these people follow and deal with those people. Because one of the things, you know, I'm going to tell you this. No child listens to their parents like how they listen to music. They don't listen to their pastor like how they listen to music. They don't listen to their teacher like how they listen to them. Where you see a child fighting a teacher in school, in uniform, and you tell me the music has nothing to do with that?
Also true.
I'll give you an experience. A couple of weeks ago, I decided that I was going to spend 3-4 hours. I'm going to listen to this music that everybody's talking about, because I don't want to condemn somebody. So I'm listening. And I sit here, Dreamy, and I'm listening. And when I was finished, I was angry. I was the most angry person. That I said to myself, why are you so angry? It's what I just heard. And these little kids who have no brain as far as nurturing is concerned, because their parents probably is hustling 10 jobs and they are left alone to be influenced by other people that they follow. And when we glorify, and I say this again, when you glorify evil, you're spreading a disease. And that's what has happened to our country. They glorify these evil people so much that every kid wants to be that. Because I don't know if you remember this. I use this as a photograph. You remember when we lived in New York, and there's a cigarette called Marlboro. You remember the television commercial? The guy ride up on the horse and tell us, this is Marlboro country. Now that little kid in the ghetto, no, he can't get the horse, but he can get the cigarette. And it was Dick Gregory who started a campaign for them to take cigarette commercial off television. We don't have any leaders anymore.
No.
We don't have no freedom fighters anymore. And a man told me this long ago. Any country in the world where the people are behaving badly, those people are mirroring the people who lead the country. The mood of the people is the mood of the government in any country. Because if the government realize, I am the prime minister of a country that don't even have 3 million people. Dade and Borough County have more people than that. I have an army and I have a police force. And I can't stop it. That means that the army and the police force is a criminal. So I think, Dreamy, is that we tend to not care for each other anymore. That's why some of my people not right. Them not right. We have so much. You see what happened is Uganda? I think it's Uganda that they have just discovered that they have 450 million ton of gold. Now, you know, any minute now they're going to murder that
Of course.
because they want that,
Yep.
right? The mistake they make, don't tell nobody. Don't tell nobody. Wait, and this is what we got to tell people, and you know that they are just dying to kill you.
It's as good
But
as
we
dead.
just talk too much about things that we're doing and things that we're going to do. Make them know after the fact. But, you know, I want to thank you. Let me get out some of this thing. I want to thank you for even giving me the opportunity to talk about some of the things that I've done in my life. Some of the things, some of them I'm not too happy about,
Hey.
but some of the things I had to do and some of the things I did because of the love of what my trade is. And, you know, you're one of the people that no matter what I call, you're always there. You always help me out. If I have a computer problem, you help me. And, you know, I've said this many times that there are certain people that we don't talk every day, you know, but that's how I think that life is. The people that mean the most you really see. And, you know, thank you so very much for giving this opportunity, man. And, you know.
And we thank you too from Irietimes.
Huh?
We thank you too from Irietimes.
Yeah, every time, you know, and I've taken this opportunity again for when I was sick for streaming that event.
Oh, yes.
That helped. And thanks to Joanna Marie. She's another one that's been here for a while.
Yes.
So, you know, we have a lot to be thankful for good people. And that is always, I always believe surround yourself with positive people and positive things will always happen.
Exactly.
If you know something wrong, walk away. Don't fight it, just walk away.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah. Thank you, brethren.
All right, Jamusa. Thank
I never
you.
knew I could have talked so long.
But at least you got it out, and the people know what is going
Eh?
on. At least you got it all out, you know?
Yeah, well, you know, that's part of it. It's part of it. The book will come out soon, so
Ah, yes. Can't wait for that.
that will have a lot more in depth, you know, and things. So, to your audience and to Irietimes, bless up, my brethren. Thanks a lot. Big up.